Hey, Sports Bar, welcome to the Sports Bar here at WTF Nation Radio. I am the actual King Smith. My man over here, I always get this mixed up, is my main man, Coach. Coach, let the people know something.
If the gloves don't fit, you must quit.
That is a famous line that people still say to this day. And we're going to talk about it, man. We're
30
definitely going
years,
to get into
man.
it.
30 years it's been. Yeah, I wonder what we're going to be talking about tonight.
Man, all
Anything
right.
happened? Anything happened big? I don't know.
Man, this week was an interesting week in sports news altogether. There was a lot that we could have talked about, but probably the biggest headline that was covered by everyone essentially is the death of Orenthal James Simpson, affectionately known as the Juice or OJ Simpson. And we're going to talk about it, man. He didn't quite make it to the fourth quarter of life. I talk about life in quarters as the first 20 years is the first quarter, 21 to 40s the second quarter, 41 to 60s the third, 61 to 80s the fourth, and everything after that's overtime, man.
Man, they cut him in the fourth quarter like OJ did to Ron and Nicole in their second quarter.
Yeah.
Oh, yes,
Man.
ladies and gentlemen, the jokes are going to be pouring in. So if you are listening right now, I want to see everybody's best OJ jokes inside the comments tonight.
I like it. I like it. We are going to get into it. Let's knock the marketing out the way, and then we're going to get right into the segment for today. So, Coach, let the people know what we have going on here at WTF Nation Radio.
All right. Well, ladies and gentlemen, we come to you live 6 nights a week on U.S Army WTF Moments and WTF Nation Radio across YouTube, Facebook, Kick, and X. To our viewers out there on X tonight, hope everybody is doing great. Love you all. Thank you for coming in. Definitely go ahead and retweet and get us our comments. And while you're at it, if you are watching us, share us, like us. Post it up on Facebook, YouTube, whatever. Get everybody in. We're talking sports this Sunday night, and we want to be talking with you. And that's what we do every Sunday at 8 o'clock here on the Sports Bar. Coming up on Monday is the Monday edition with Ice and Massey. Both of them will be bringing it to you about what's happening within the world, as well as what's happening within the military community. On Tuesday, Pop Culture Radio is back. Our boy CQ and Mad Mike have a great guest lined up this week. This week is Orlando Jones. Last week was a little bit preempted, and then I do know that this week, like I said, Orlando Jones will be stopping by and chatting it up with CQ and Mad Mike, so definitely check them out. And on Wednesday, my most favorite show on WTF Nation Radio, The Smoke Bit with Radar and TeeZee. It's a great 2-hour bullshit session. You definitely want to check that out. On Thursdays, we have Sergeant's Time with Ice and Spanky, and they are telling you what's happening within the world of the military, within the world of Veterans Affairs, and things that affect the military life, and your sounding post for anything and all that is messed up, especially the mold in the barracks. Please report those to the United States Army Center of Mold Excellence, please, and that will be every Thursday night at 8 o'clock on WTF Nation Radio and U.S Army WTF Moments. Now, I do not get paid this week, but Friday nights next week, the following week, so you're going to have to wait, 13 days until the next Friday Night Freedom is back with Kaz, as well as WTF Mom. Yes, Mom has been on the show, and Mom is going to be on the show. I believe Kaz has already put it out all the way up until the show is ending. So this way, you guys want to check out Friday Night Freedom, one of our flagship shows, will be coming off the air pretty soon, as Kaz has got other things happening, and definitely want to check them out on Fridays at 8 o'clock. And as I said, that is 8 o'clock Eastern, 7 o'clock Central, 6 o'clock Mountain, 5 o'clock Pacific, and 3 p.m. for all you all there in Hawaii on U.S. Army WTF Nation Radio, WTF Nation Radio, the U.S. Army WTF Moments, and that's across Facebook, YouTube, Kick, and X. So, King, what do we say? Let's start this show off, you think, buddy?
Hey man, let's do it. First of all, thanks for doing it, man. 'Cause I can't do that quite as great as you. And we've already got some people writing some jokes in the comment. I want to highlight this. Patterson said OJ and the Steelers have a lot in common. They both beat the Browns. I wish I had my soundboard working for this episode. I still haven't quite fully gotten things set up yet, but we are going to get there. Shout out to What Happened to Me over on YouTube. Said good evening. Hey, that is my boo thing. Boo thing, I appreciate you popping in. So, just like Coach said here, we stream uh 5 nights, 6 nights a week.
Yep.
There's a potential stream that's going to be coming in as well. Can't
Yeah.
it just yet, but there was a test run of it yesterday. If you follow WTF Nation Radio, you might have heard my voice on Saturday night with Nemo as he was doing some gaming. I had fun. I thought it was pretty cool. I hope that the boss green lights that show and adds that to the repertoire of things that WTF Nation Radio produces. Because I'm a gamer, man. Folks don't know this, but I game quite often.
Do you really?
Yeah, man, I game. It's my relaxing. Like other people, they go to the gym and they do other things. They might go home and I'm not gonna say that joke, but me, I game, man. That is how I relax and things. So I really hope that that show does come off. Let's see. Oh man, dude. Hey, Tiberius is gonna be on it. I can tell. Said I wasn't sure about that joke. Thought I'd take a stab at it. Doo doo.
That's a good one.
Oh man, we got Richard Broncos coming in on it too. He said OJ can rest in peace now, knowing that his wife's killer is dead. Man,
Took him 30 years, though, I mean, I'm just saying that. So, after it sends you for 30 some odd years of looking for the killer, you'd think that by then you would be able to actually have found it. Can't believe it took 30 years for them to find OJ, to find or to finally make sure that the killer was dead. But what else can you do? So, actually, King, I do have something for everybody.
let's get into it.
Well, you know what? I mean, I just might as well take the gloves off when it comes down to the joke, and let me go ahead and start sharing something to absolutely everybody. Can you see what I'm sharing right now, King?
Yes, sir.
Oh, I've been waiting for that to show up for a while. Let me get that off the screen and kind of look professional here. So, ladies and gentlemen, Orenthal James Simpson has no longer found any type of use on this earth and has decided to move to the afterlife, where I'm pretty sure that about 80% of the people that are listed up here on this picture currently are. Is that Margaret Thatcher?
I know
That
some of
might
the
be
names.
Margaret Thatcher. I
Wait,
mean, we
hold
don't.
on. How does Elvis Presley?
That's what I'm saying. Maybe about 20% or so. I don't know. Elvis Presley, I don't know. Maybe because he married a little child. I don't know. But hey, it could be that. But Orenthal James Simpson. So we really, well, it's not to say that the American public has not been counting down the days until this actually happened. And then on the morning of April 11th, we all woke up with the news that Orenthal James Simpson had passed away from cancer at the age of 76. Now, this has been a topic that has been avoided on many of his sports shows because it opens up a complete Pandora's box, which is exactly what Orenthal James Simpson did 76 years ago. And I want to take a little bit look back on his entire life to kind of, well, explain a little bit about why a acquitted murderer who was then convicted civilly of murder had such a enthralling capture on this great nation for nearly 30 years. let's also be honest about this too. Orenthal James Simpson was the Reggie Bush. God, who was the last real big college guy that came out and was worth the hype? I would say that. I mean, we could have done the Reggie Bush thing with the USC and everything like that, but if you see where I'm getting at, kind of like Andrew Luck, Peyton Manning, those of those ilk, that's what OJ Simpson was seen as when he was coming out of USC after winning the Heisman Trophy. And after, gosh, I think it was only 10 or 11 seasons, he retired at 11,000 some odd yards. And he was the all-time leading rusher in NFL history. Now, at that point, the NFL was still in its pre-Super Bowl era as well as going into the Super Bowl era. So while Juice might not have been known just by all NFL fans, the AFL fans sure as heck know him. The New York Jets fans sure as heck know him when his 2,000 yards in 11 games was broken at Shea Stadium against the New York Jets in the season finale game. Let's just remember that. 2000 but no, I am going to say this, and this might be the only positive that I might say about Orenthal James Simpson tonight. And that was in 11 games he rushed for 2,000 yards. It has taken Barry Sanders, Adrian Peterson, the kid from Tennessee, not Henry, the other one that came before him, Chris Johnson, the kid from East Carolina, Eric Dickerson. You can go Terrell Davis. I think if there's any other 2,000-yard rushers, then please let me know. But I think I just listed off every 2,000-yard rusher, and every single one of them needed 16 games in order to reach that.
I got one
OJ did
correction.
that at 11.
I got
14,
one correction.
excuse me.
It was 14 games.
14. I'm sorry. I don't know why I said 11. I meant 14. Thank you. Thank you for correcting me on that. But that is exactly what it was. It was 14 games, and he eclipsed 2,000 yards. Great feat. Now, I'm going to start going into OJ's post NFL life and explain a little bit as well about his pre NFL life. Now, there is something that you probably are not aware of. But did you know that growing up in the projects of San Francisco, Orenthal James's father held various jobs, including to be the world's most renowned drag queen? Yes, ladies and
No,
gentlemen, OJ's father was a drag queen who died of AIDS in 1986.
I didn't know that.
Yes. So, just so you all know about that one, he kind of did grow up in a little bit of a screwy around lifestyle. But let's also be quite honest. He endured himself to white America faster than any other person. Before Michael Jordan ever did it, before Michael Jackson ever did, before a lot of the, and I hate to say this, the assimilation of an African American star into the white civilization. One of the first examples was Mr. Orenthal James Simpson. Now, this brings up to my first little point about why I am a little upset about Orenthal. So, in 1974, a great movie came out by the name of Blazing Saddles. Everybody has watched that movie. It's almost 50 years old right now and is still a timeless classic. Do you know what else was released in 50 years ago this year, King?
No.
The Towering Inferno, which starred an ensemble cast to include Mr. Orenthal James Simpson. Yes, he was a Hollywood actor. He was a Hollywood actor for almost 15 years to 20 years. Can you believe that? His first acting credit was in 1974. But The Towering Inferno won the Best Song Oscar in the Academy Awards. And it beat out the all-time great song Blazing Saddles by Blazing Saddles, thus denying the great Mel Brooks his only opportunity at an Academy Award. So, ladies and gentlemen, if you want to blame somebody for Mel Brooks, the great creator of Spaceballs, Blazing Saddles, Young Frankenstein, History of the World Part 1, and Robin Hood Men in Tights. Oh, yeah, and the producers. The only reason why he doesn't have an Academy Award and has a Lifetime Achievement one is because of a movie that O.J. Simpson was in. Again, screwing America over because he is a Renthal James Simpson. Now, let's just also keep going about the next 20 or so odd years while he was slashing and jumping through the airports at Hertz Rental Car. Wow, pre 9/11 days all over again while you look at those commercials as he is slashing through to get to the checkout counter and drive away as slowly as possible down the 405. But, ladies and gentlemen, at that same time, too, he also endeared himself where he did not, and I say this, there are a lot of African American people that are going to be upset at me for saying this, but there's also going to be a lot of African American people that are going to be happy for me to say this, and I'm picking up a little bit of a racial issue. Ladies and gentlemen, around that time period, Orenthal James Simpson also divorced his first wife, who was African American, and their two children to be around more white people in Brentwood. Ditched his wife after his father passed away, and his 9-year-old daughter was drowned underneath his care. Oh, you didn't remember that one either. Yeah, OJ also killed a baby, but it was ruled accidental, unlike Nicole and Ron's. That being said, OJ divorced his African American wife, hooked up with Nicole, and started living the high life around Brentwood by being, and I'm using this term not in a bad sense, but being token. Uh-oh. I am now just picking up something right here. This is the same guy whose exact words about the American public is, I'm not black, I'm OJ.
To which Jay-Z even won a was it an Oscar for music?
And
No, Grammy.
yeah, Grammy,
Grammy.
yeah.
Yeah,
Yep.
won a Grammy for a song that featured those words. I'm not black, I'm OJ.
I'm not
Okay.
black, I'm OJ. Okay, I can understand the reasoning for that, but I can also, and I am saying this as part of the people within the African American community, a lot of people were very upset with him about that. A
Now,
lot of
can you go
people were.
into what was going on and why he said that? Because I kind of agree with what he was trying to say at the time.
What he was trying to say at the time is that people should not see him for his skin color. He's not an African American, he's Orenthal James Simpson. Now, those are one of those statements that can be twisted around and said several different ways. I'm not black, I'm OJ can be used as like, well, hey, look, I don't see color. But other people can also see it as he is losing. And I say this in being ignorant to say it, so please allow me to say it. But there were people that believed he lost what it was about being African American by stating that. And that's what he was trying. He was trying to endear himself more to the white, affluent crowd than he was to the African Americans, his own people. That's where the things get a little bit miffed up, where you can have several meanings. I know the meaning that I believe would have been that way, but that word can be twisted around and that statement can be twisted around. Am I correct, King?
I'd agree.
Okay. Now, what was it that? Now, what did you think that it meant?
Well, when all of this was happening live, right? I was young. I was born in 1984. So
Mhm.
it took me hearing it later on and being older. When I first heard it, I was like, ugh. But then when I listened
Yeah.
to everything, there was a documentary that was out that was talking about the Olympics and trying to get him in because he was what people don't also realize about OJ is OJ didn't also play football, he ran track. So
Yes, it-
it was at the time, I forget which Olympic time frame that it was, but they were trying to get all of the black athletes to sit out and not
Mm-hmm.
participate whatsoever. And OJ was approached, and asked about his participation as somebody that was in the media, known, very athletically gifted and talented, and he was against it. He was like, "Hey, look,
Mm-hmm.
I'm not saying that what y'all are doing isn't right or whether I agree with it or not." He's like, his words, and I'm kind of paraphrasing, "He ain't got nothing to do with me."
Oh no, that's absolutely true. That is, and I'm also going to say another thing too. This is a thing about OJ, especially around this time. There still is a lot of discrimination that was there was a lot more there was less understanding by the masses about what OJ was saying then than there is now, if you see where I'm saying. Now,
Hmm.
too many people would have ended up just like, oh, hey, we got this, blah, 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 and whatever. Just shut the fuck up. It really doesn't matter about that. But I'm not saying that to you. I'm saying that about other people.
Hmm.
I agree with you about this, and I know that the time, and I'm trying to get to this time right now. The time that this happened within our nation, the big things that happened with OJ was a very transformational time. We had just gotten like the internet was finally delivered to us as a person. 2 years prior, we had seen Rodney King get his ass handed to him by multiple cops from the LAPD. And this trial, again, was an African American being charged by white people. There were immediate racial overtones about this. Everything with OJ, and I hate to say this, brought something out into everybody, and it brought out the worst part of the differences between people because it became a black-white issue.
Hmm.
It did. Now, let me also move into 1994. And to get into this issue, I want to talk about the day of that car chase in the back of you. Okay. And this is a sports thing. ESPN has done a great 30 for 30 on this. I lived it live in you.
Oh wow. Hey, coach. Uh-oh. 1 second. Coach, if you're talking, your audio is not coming through. I am going to give Coach a second to realize this. Let me know. Check your internet. He was cooking too. He was cooking. Hey, to everybody watching and or listening while Coach figures out what's going on his end, there is a link that is in the chat. I can't pin it, but if you are interested in coming on and contributing to this conversation, um, click the link to join. If you don't have to cam up like how I'm cammed up, but you are going to need to at least show yourself in what's called the back room so I can make sure that you're, who you are and decent, and then we'll go from there. All right. Coach is back. There he is. Coach, I brought you back up, man. Check your microphone and make sure that your mic is good to go. Might need the DOS boot and reset. While he figures that out, he was getting into OJ's car chase scene, and I'm gonna have this video right here. What did I put this video at? This is a video by the New York Post. Hey, fair use, New York Post. Fair use. I'm gonna get the video going, and then I'm gonna bring Coach back in. All right,
Can you hear me?
Coach.
Can you hear me
Hey,
now, buddy?
hey, there you go.
All right, awesome, awesome.
So you were,
Oh,
so you
yeah.
were just about to talk about it.
So, ladies and gentlemen, 1994. The day that this happened was a great day in New York sports history. The Saturday prior, the New York Rangers won the Stanley Cup for the first time in 54 years. Their ticker tape parade was on this Friday at 12 or to 1 o'clock Eastern time. As I'm watching the ticker tape parade, ABC News breaks in. Ladies and gentlemen, we have a breaking news story out of Beverly Hills. OJ Simpson, former NFL running back, has now been charged with the murders of his former wife, etc., etc. I immediately turn it off the daggone ticker tape parade because they already introduced all the players and now all the fucking suits were going to be talking. And not only did I watch the TV for the rest of the night, my parents watched the TV for the rest of the night. My family was calling up other people on landlines, not on the cell phone where you had to ask, hey, where are you at now? No. Regular landlines. Everybody was glued to this. OJ Simpson was more well known than Rob Gronkowski is right now. Definitely at the level of Peyton and Eli Manning when it came down to national everything. In fact, he was also a broadcaster for NBC at that time. And on top of that, too, he was in movies. You know, I'm not sure if any of the Mannings have been in movies, but hey, guess what? He had something better than him. OJ was everywhere. Everybody saw OJ.
Mm-hmm.
And then around 7 or 8 o'clock at night, around East Coast time, well, we all had to make a decision if we were sports fans. You see, Game 5 of the NBA Finals from the New York Knicks against the Houston Rockets was taking place that night at Madison Square Garden, with the Knicks tied up 2-2 going into the next going into Game 5. As I am watching Game 5, they are literally split screening the car chase, everything, while the NBA final game was happening. As the Knicks were dribbling off the court, OJ was pulling off the 405 to get back to his home in Brentwood, where he would infamously hand the gun over to Al Cowlings and then turn himself in. Now, I want to make a quick mention of that night, because even though the New York Rangers won the Stanley Cup the week before and had their celebration interrupted by this man, it would also mark the last time the New York Knicks won an NBA Finals game. You see, they lost the next 2 games to Houston, lost the 94 championship, were swept in 99 by a rookie Tim Duncan and a David Robinson with San Antonio, and have not been to the NBA Finals since. So ever since OJ got into that Bronco, the Knicks have not won an NBA Finals game. For that, I need to tell you, OJ, you need to go fuck yourself.
Dang, man, that's nice how you're able to draw all of that together.
Oh,
wow.
Buddy, I'm only 20 minutes into this. I still have more to go.
Come on with it, coach.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, so we finally move on to the trial of the century. And I kid you not, it was the trial of the 20th century, because at the time of the 20th century, we didn't have that big mass personal internet for everybody to go around. No, our mass media was our television and our providers and our on-air providers. Well, nobody wanted to miss a moment of Orenthal James Simpson's trial, pre-judgment, evidence hearings, everything. We wanted it all. So not only did CNN cover it, not only did the basic news covers, start the big days, like as in they got out of the broadcast show, there was no freaking soap operas on. It was OJ, especially at the beginning of the beginning of the trial, the real big days, you know. Well, a certain TV channel came up right around that time, because they couldn't bust out headline news or CNN to cover the trial at all times. So Ted Turner got smart and said, I am going to make Court TV. And the whole reason for Court TV's existence and continuation was that Court TV had live exclusive coverage of the Orenthal James Simpson trial on cable 24/7 with lawyer commentary, ladies and gentlemen. Oh my gosh, we're getting play-by-play of the trial. Oh, I'm also going to get into the members of this trial here for a minute here after this, but Court TV became into existence thanks to the O.J. Simpson trial. And then a year later, when Court TV was done with it, well, they continued on to other ones like the Melendez case and to the Unabomber case and to other cases until Court TV was no longer profitable and they started showing reruns of the world's wildest police chases. And then all of a sudden, a format change came to Court TV. Do you know what Court TV was changed to, buddy?
Like everything else, they likely went digital.
No, they didn't. Court TV itself ceased to exist and did go into a digital platform.
Okay.
But Court TV, the TV station, was rebranded into the alternate station for the NCAA tournament. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, True TV, the home of Impractical Joker reruns 24/7, 365, was created to cover the OJ case. So, ladies and gentlemen, as you are doing absolutely nothing and you realize that out of the 7,000 channels that are on, the only one that is somewhat mildly interesting if you watch it for the first time and not 7,000 times over and over again is the Impractical Jokers. And I'm pretty sure there's a lot of people that will just pick it up the first time and watch 4 hours straight of it. And then people are just going to get ticked off because True TV doesn't have anything else but the Impractical Jokers on there, except for the 1 or 2 games that they play during the NCAA tournament. So it wastes up space on my channel, and all I get to see are reruns of Impractical Jokers. And for that, again, OJ, I thank you and say go fuck yourself.
Man,
now
look at those connections. Keep it coming, Coach.
It gets better. Ladies and gentlemen, we are now looking right now on our screen of the one, the only, the late Johnny Cochran, one of the defense attorneys that represented Orenthal James Simpson at the trial of the century. Now, needless to say, and I am going to say this right now, and I can get it, the O.J. Simpson trial became a race issue. Did it not?
Oh, man, yes.
It did. It did. We don't need to explain.
Okay.
We all know it did.
Okay.
We all know it did. The person who drove the race issue was Mr. Johnny Cochran. And I will say that there was a lot of things and dirty laundry that was billed out by Johnny Cochran. And a lot of good quotes, including this one where he's wearing Low J's Lucky Stabbing hat.
Let's play
inside the courtroom.
Let's play it.
Let's do it.
All right.
It's no disguise. It makes no sense. It doesn't fit. If it doesn't fit, you must acquit. It reminded me that there was testimony early on
that Detective Lang had refused.
Oh, all right. Hold up. Okay. All right, Coach. I got you back up.
Man, so Mr. Johnny Cochran, yes, he did bring racism into there. He did bring several great quotes that came out, like if a glove don't fit, you must acquit. So I say that he did his purpose. But let's also remember that it was a team of lawyers that represented him. F. Lee, Bailey, Darden, and Roberts. What was that last name again? Oh, that's right. Robert Kardashian. Ladies and gentlemen, let me bring you back to that trial Mr. Robert Kardashian was made an instant celebrity by representing O.J. Simpson. And it just so happened that at the time that he was representing Mr. Orenthal James Simpson, he was also married to whatever the fuck her name is. You know, the one who pushed out Chloe, Courtney, and Kim. Well, that's their father. And I guess the fame and the Hollywood brought them up because once the Kardashians tasted that rich, affluent lifestyle of being around all of these celebrities and money by being a high-paid lawyer, well, Mrs. Kardashian decided that it would be a better idea to get into that. And let me go ahead and divorce my husband who just let OJ off, also was brought him around my kids, and let me go ahead and marry Mr. Bruce Jenner, and then procreate, have several unrealistic kids, but most importantly, introduce my 3 great Kardashian daughters to the high life of people that are swarming around Hollywood. Ladies and gentlemen, a blowjob and a mixtape and O.J. Simpson later, and E is now renewing the 29th season of Keeping Up with the Kardashians. And those 3 puds of fucking flesh are now, thank you, part of our Mexicon, and were introduced to us by none and only Mr. Orenthal James Simpson. Thank you very much, OJ. Go fuck yourself. Oh, wait, King. Oh, wait.
There's more?
There's more about Mr. Simpson before I get to my last point. I have 2 more points about O.J. Simpson. This one is definitely more of an American lexicon than anything else. All right, ladies and gentlemen, as Mr. King behind you has gratefully shown on the video, and it is also his over his back left shoulder, so if he turns to the right, we will be able to see it a little bit better. The other right, you knucklehead. You're right. A little bit more, but as you can see, we've got a white Ford Bronco, ladies and gentlemen, a white Ford Bronco that in 1994, Broncos were considered one of the best SUVs on the face of the earth, right? They were better than the Chevy Blazer. People compared them. They were better than the Jeep Cherokee. People love those Broncos, even the old ones and the new ones, especially these white ones. You know, I heard that you can actually sit in the back of those cars while on a 1990s brick cell phone and a gun, and you can get clear reception off the 405 while your buddy was doing this. Oh, by the way, I also want to bring something up about Mr. Al Cowlings. Yes, the gentleman who's driving the Ford White Bronco. The only man who has ever ridden the 405 and had no traffic, Mr. Al Cowlings. Well, I am going to talk to you about Mr. Al Cowlings and Mr. Simpson's first wife. Did you know that Al Cowlings asked OJ to dispute a lover's quarrel between him and his girlfriend, right?
Okay.
Orenthal talked to both of them, and they agreed to break up. Several months later, OJ started dating Al Cowlings' ex-girlfriend and thus became OJ's first fucking wife. Ladies and gentlemen, O.J. Simpson is not only in hell and a murderer, he's also a wife stealer.
Oh, man.
Did you ever
All
do
of
that?
these connections, and Holly Leanne over on Facebook agreed with your last point about him being the reason why we have the Kardashians to this day.
Yep, exactly. Now, back to this Bronco. This Bronco was made famous. I want a 1994 white Ford Bronco. Hell yeah, I want one. I want one the same exact model, trim type, and everything, just like Al Cowlings drove. But you know what happened in 1995 because of this?
They discontinued it.
The Bronco was discontinued and not until brought back until 2019 when COVID said that the Ranger and the Bronco was coming back. And this Bronco took a little while, and I think they had to make a couple adjustments. But now that they've got the soft top and you can take the top down, the new Broncos look good, but the old Broncos looked like crap. So I was going to blame the old Broncos or the new Broncos looking like crap on OJ Simpson. But I am going to blame the almost 25-year break of the Bronco, one of the best SUVs ever made, on Mr. Lorenthal James Simpson. So OJ Simpson, thank you very much. Go fuck yourself.
That's what, the fifth one?
That's the fifth one.
Hey, before you go to the next point, I thought it was
the last
crazy
one
too. Because as I was doing research on why the Bronco got discontinued, sales shut up. And I'm like, yo, it's a crazy business decision that they decided to discontinue it because Ford didn't want the association of the Bronco to be with OJ Simpson. But sales went through, the demand for the Ford Bronco went through the roof, and Ford was like, we don't want no association with that. That's a crazy business decision to me.
Yep. So
I can't, that's hard to believe that they would do that.
Okay, let me bring this up. Is there a reason why the Toyota Hilux is not sold in the United States, but the Toyota Tacoma is?
I'm unfamiliar with that brand, so put me on game.
The Toyota Hilux, it's a four-wheel drive Toyota pickup truck. Sometimes it has 2 seats in the front, sometimes it has 4. But those trucks are indestructible, small, nimble, can go everywhere, and most likely you have heard the words Allah Akbar being yelled at it if you served over in Iraq and Afghanistan. That's what the Toyota Hilux is known as, the terrorist vehicle. The Toyota Hilux is the European and Asian version of the Toyota Tacoma, or I would just say vice versa. The Tacoma is the U.S. version of the Hilux. The Hilux is considered the gold standard for dependability cars, trucks, everything. But when the Hilux started being highlighted as the vehicle of choice of everybody in Iraq and Afghanistan, the Hilux was phased out and the Tacoma was brought in. Now, the popularity of that pickup truck was brought in, but I don't think we could have ever had been able to, at the level of popularity with that OJ, to have kept that and not kept the negative connotation for the OJ. I only want a white Bronco just because of OJ. My father had a blue 1988 Bronco. I don't want that one. I want a fucking white one because of OJ. All right? Sorry, Dad. I wanted that. But like I said, 25-year gap without not having that car. And that's thanks to OJ Simpson. He basically caused, you know what? Good. I would say this. If in 2008, Ford was still selling the Ford Bronco, they would not have had to have gone to the government and asked for a bailout. And the Ford Bronco would still be there, and Ford would not have to have been bailed out by the government. So again, because Ford had to get bailed out by the government, thanks a lot, OJ Simpson. Go fuck yourself. There's sex now. Now, let me get my final one in.
Let's hear it.
Ladies and gentlemen, I am about to share something with you that you have never seen before.
Oh! Yo!
I have been talking about this. I have talked about this several times. Before? Yes, I have. I believe I have. Oh, yes, ladies and gentlemen. The real OJ32 was his Twitter handle. Now, many of you remember that OJ Simpson back in 2008 was arrested and charged for basically, assaulting violence, got 33 years in jail, 9 of which would have to be done for trying to steal back his Heisman Trophy that had to be sold because he needed to pay the Simpson family and his legal bills. Well, Mr. Simpson got out of jail in 2017. 2018, I don't know. I guess he was looking for the killer again because, right after jail, right after sentence, that's what you're supposed to do. Go look for the killer, right? On a golf courses. But no, in 2019, Mr. Simpson thought it would be a fucking grand idea to get on Twitter and open up an account. Now, daily, Mr. Simpson would post videos about what was happening within the sports world.
And I followed his Twitter handle.
All right. Well, ladies and gentlemen,
on day one,
when Mr. and I did too, just so I can go ahead and just throw my jokes and my insults next. All right. But this is what I'm going to say right now. On the day, I believe Antonio Brown did something only Antonio Brown can do, or the day after, Mr. Simpson posted one of his usual videos. I think he actually teed off at a country club and then looked back at the camera and started talking about this is a sad day in America, and tagged Antonio Brown. So my reply happened to be, a sad day in America was when Nicole Brown Simpson and Ron Goldman were turned into Pez dispensers in front of their house in 1994. Now, did I imply that OJ did it? No. I just brought up the fact that it was a tragedy, especially seeing the fact that they were killed and then you interrupted the fucking Knick game. They were killed and then you unleashed the Kardashians. They were killed and you screwed me up with the white Bronco and everything you had done, OJ. Well, I wake up the next morning and I see 5,000 replies. 99.8% of them laughing their butts off, retweeting, loving it. This was an unbelievable joke, great joke, everything on there. I got that 2% saying, hey, he was innocent, you're racist. All right, whatever. I go to look at that tweet again. And that was the screen that I see in front of me, is that the real Orenthal James Simpson in 2019 blocked me on Twitter. And I was going to wish him the best of luck with his cancer treatment when he was told he had cancer. I was going to send my condolences. In fact, OJ, I was going to help you try to find the killer of your ex-wife and the Jew she was dating, according to you. But you blocked me. And as you know, King, I'm a good friend. I help everybody. In fact, in my real job, that's what I'm supposed to do, is help everybody. I would love to have helped OJ Simpson find the murderer of his ex-wife and the restaurant, the guy who just delivered the glasses and was the wrong place at the wrong time, whose father has a fucking ridiculous mustache, and I think that's hysterical too. But that being said, I couldn't do any of that. You know why? Because OJ Simpson blocked me.
Because you got blocked by the Jews. He had something like 200,000 followers at the time, and you managed to be one that got blocked.
That man had a lot of followers, and I will just say, I mean, it did have like 1,000 likes and multiple retweets and all that other stuff. But that being said, I thought that was my brush of fame, and ever since then I have not been on camera because I was afraid that one day Mr. Simpson would actually come to my house and say, hey, you remember that joke? And I wouldn't come to the door with a knife, so I would be defenseless. That means, and you know how that thing goes.
Yeah. Was this on a throwaway account, your real life personal,
This
or
was on my real life personal that has now been deactivated because I hate Twitter. All due respect to everybody who's watching us out there on Twitter.
hey,
Hey, look,
we
thank
got
you.
111 viewers on Twitter right
Thank
now.
you for everybody who's watching us on Twitter. I love you guys that are out there watching us on Twitter, but I am not getting on that platform ever again. I'm
I
sorry, y'all. Twitter
I
to
love it.
me,
I love it.
Twitter to me is the epitome of keyboard warrior bottom level thinking. Like, I have never seen so many circle jerks and people who should have been castrated at birth so that their seed does not pollute the freaking population anymore. That's the extent of people that are on. Oh, and I take that back. I take that back. There's two separate people that are all. There are two other people that are also on there, and those are the egotistical stars and the star fuckers. Let's be quite honest. OJ Simpson had a whole bunch of people who were star fucking him on Twitter right now. The man was convicted civilly of murdering two people. Yet there are star fuckers on Twitter, and there are more star fuckers on Twitter following stars to get that little dopamine level of acceptance of whether or not they have somebody of importance pulling them there. That's why people love that little thing on Twitter of dopamine, because it's a direct line with people that you feel are important. You can just and then put in a handle and then have that person see it because it mentions them. And in the hopes that you get a like or an interaction or a retweet out of that, that's what fills your dopamine level on Twitter. Twitter to me is nothing but a breeding ground for negativity and trolls. But if you're watching us, you obviously have class and style. You are not a troll. You are not one of the people who starfuck OJ Simpson or starfuck these random celebrities or athletes or wrestlers or, OnlyFan models that, those are the people that we get that. And that's another thing that also highlighted something with OJ, and it comes down to this. OJ Simpson was the first villain, anti-hero that people rooted for at a mass scale in this country. We brought up the racial divide, but I will also bring up the essential divide of guilty, not guilty. And let's go into the aftermath of the guilty, not guilty thing. When OJ was found innocent, there was a large outcry of disbelief, and there was a large outcry of justice was served. In the rule of law, and either way you look at it, yes, the defense did a terrible case. Yes, the evidence was stacked on the prosecutor's case. And yes, the prosecutor shit the bed, and the defense did a good job. And it's winning of the courts. But the court of public opinion, the court of evidence, and the court of looking back, every fucking one of us knew OJ did it. Every one of us. But there were people who were rooting for him to beat the murder charge because he was OJ Simpson. And I mean that as the opposite effect of what we were talking about as far as what he said. I'm not black, I'm OJ.
I heard a sports podcast talk about OJ's son and how he had a son that had violent fits and actually had an arrest charge that had a knife included in the arrest charge, and how OJ took the rap to protect his son.
That doesn't surprise me.
And it seems like a viable argument that the way that the sports podcast talked about, I said, shit, I can see that.
I hate to say this, we could bring down a whole shit ton of reasonable arguments that everybody can say that, for what he did. There are people that are still thinking that OJ was innocent just because of everything that, because he was cleared on there. OJ, to me, highlighted and began another racial divide. There's truth to that. Have you ever, and yes, all right, you know what? I'm going to say this too. There were several people that their reaction, and I'm not saying that this isn't warranted. So please, again, I'm not saying anything racist, but I am saying something along the racial lines. There were people that were happy that OJ got acquitted of murder because, and I brought up Rodney King before that, because Rodney King's accusers were found not guilty. So people wanted a tit for tat. They wanted the African American to be found not guilty.
Hey, sometimes
you see where I'm getting at now.
Yeah. Sometimes it's the court of public opinion that can help sway some things.
Yeah, and that's the sad thing about that. I wonder what Holly is talking about as far as Steve McNair.
Well, yeah. So she said off topic, and I started to bring it up later. She said, "I'd love to hear y'all talk about the Steve McNair story." Holly, I'm curious why you would ask that one. That's a very specific story. I think we could do either a segment on a different day, but we could certainly write that one down, Coach. Like, I have some thoughts about Steve McNair. There's certain things that happen that you recall where you were when it happened. And if I recall, Steve McNair passed away or was murdered in summer of 2009, because I had just gotten back from Okinawa, Japan, from my being stationed there like June of 2009. And then I think the news of Steve McNair broke like a month or so later. So I can recall where I was at when I heard it.
No.
But man, that's such an old story. We can definitely write this down, Coach, and bring it up then as a segment and talk about it later on. Absolutely, Holly.
Yeah, and somebody in the chat brought up about Aaron Hernandez. Aaron Hernandez is only comparable to what happened with OJ, just because of the murder and the football. But the Aaron Hernandez situation. Aaron Hernandez did not endear himself to local society in the same way that OJ Simpson did. So there wasn't that emotional attachment. Yeah, he had played for the Patriots, and if I'm right, I believe he might have won one Super Bowl. I'm not sure. I know him and Gronk were both drafted together. But that being said, Gronk came out the better on that end, obviously. And Aaron Hernandez is now dead. But Aaron Hernandez was also a thug growing up. Living in, I wish I'm joking, I didn't realize that Bristol, Connecticut apparently has gangs, but according to other people, they've migrated up from New York and started going into the ESPN headquarters area. Bristol was basically there just as a sound station for ESPN, but now apparently it's a full-fledged city where Aaron Hernandez was a gang there. And Aaron Hernandez killed all these people and then killed himself to take care of his daughter in the end. Some people kind of feel that as poetic justice in a way. Some people feel that OJ's justice was not served with his death. That's a sad part. That's the sad part. Some people feel that OJ should have died 30 years ago. Some people think that OJ should have been sentenced to death and died in prison. Some people feel that he should still be in prison off of that 33-year sentence that he got, that he should have died there. But no, he was released. This is our American justice system, whether you like it or not, and whether you want to, whether you like it or not, or whether you want to make that change or not. This is the way the justice system ends. Some people you feel justified for. Some people, like Mr. Simpson, you don't feel justified for. And that's the way America felt. And I think I've said enough about this, man. I've almost gone on an hour about OJ Simpson, but this will be the last time I talk about him. So thank God.
Bro, no. Hey, so what people don't know is when we come together and produce and put these shows together, Coach and I, we don't have a workflow plan before we go live. Like I'll typically produce some stuff. I'll see what the news is talking about around sports related things. I'll put it together and then we'll hit go. Well, when the news of OJ Simpson broke out, Coach hit me up in our work chat and said, I want to talk about OJ first thing.
No, look, man, I have been wanting to talk about OJ for a while, and it never had the opportunity to do this. This was like a long freaking, I know this is a long-term thing, but I swear to God, OJ Simpson, that whole thing got to me, and a lot of different things that happened within that time was what got to me about it. So I've had to talk about this. I've really, like, over the past several years, have really studied about a lot of the stuff that happens with OJ Simpson. And it's just something that fascinated me. So thank you for allowing me to do that, man, because I sure as hell didn't, I didn't want to, I sure as hell didn't want to take up an hour. That's what I'm trying to say. I
No,
didn't want to take
hey,
an hour, but I'm kind of glad I did. That was a good. Thank you for letting me get everything off of that, man.
no, that was entertaining to me. Like I said, I didn't know what your points were prior to going live, but that was entertaining for me and I learned some shit. There's a something that Holly Leanne wrote said I literally smoked a joint on his condo porch the next day, and I'm going to assume his being Steve McNair. She said a Metro cop wrote a book about it. It was brushed under the rug and out of the national media within days, and they fired the cop. Holly
Actually, I
Leanne.
think she's talking about Aaron Hernandez. Actually,
Oh, snap.
yeah. Oh,
Okay.
and by the way, Holly Leanne. By the way, yeah, I am also checking out your Facebook to find out where you were from. And if I may, nice shirt on one of the one you got in the middle. She's sporting a U.S Army W.T.F moment Facebook on her Facebook right now.
That's what I'm
So,
talking about.
Holly Leanne, thank you very much for supporting us. Sorry for stalking your Facebook, but
No,
nice picture. I'm not going to share it, but we know you support us.
no, she said that she was talking about Steve. Hey, if we do a segment on that, Holly, would you be willing to come up and talk about it? I think that that'd be dope to have that
Oh,
perspective of
hell yeah.
somebody that was right there. We would love to have you on and hear from your perspective what happened. I follow football. I was a huge fan of Steve McNair. From what I knew, he was endeared within his community and everywhere that he went. But after the fact, there was a lot of stuff that came out about, he liked them young and fresh, if you get, what I'm trying to say.
You like
And
R. Kelly him.
yeah, like he would
Yeah.
he was the Leonardo
Now,
DiCaprio of quarterbacks in that he just went and ran through women.
now, here's an interesting thing about Steve McNair with his development. Okay,
Mhm.
and this is about his pro development. This is something that I always kind of look back as far as maybe a blueprint. Why? Yeah. Well, hey, Richard Bronco, go back a little bit, and I explained that entire story about how OJ blocked me, buddy. But oh, Steve McNair. So he got drafted. I think it was '95 out of Alcorn State, right? Alcorn State was like a Division I AA school. Not a lot of people had thought about, Steve McNair basically wasn't. I think at that year, Kerry Collins was actually the star quarterback, but then McNair also came up after that. McNair did not play for the first 2 years that he was in the NFL. In fact, I take that back. One of the years that he played for he either played, was on the team there and didn't play, or he was just drafted and then they moved. But he was on the Houston Oilers when they moved to Tennessee. And then when he became Tennessee, that's when his starter. He had 2 years of development before that. And from the gate, he did good. He became an NFL MVP. He split that MVP one year with Peyton Manning. led the team to the Super Bowl, came within 1 yard of the Super Bowl. And if it was in 2022, that last play would have had to have been played, or 2024.
If it was
Because it's
this,
a hip,
yep.
yeah, if it was this year, it would be a hip drop tackle. God forbid, 1 yard short would have been a defensive penalty. But, he did as far as individual and team, he brought as much as humanly possible to it. But they developed him right. And in a lot of the quarterbacks and within the NFL right now, there is a 56 to 60% bust rate. Steve McNair could have been one of those busts, like Achilles Smith, like Johnny Manziel, like all of these other project quarterbacks that they had there. But the Tennessee Titans, and back in the day, this was the way before Peyton Manning and everybody else kind of showed it up. They had them learn the system. The last quarterback that did that and learned the system is your 3-time Super Bowl MVP, reigning MVP, however many future Hall of Famer, Patrick Mahomes. Out of all the other quarterbacks that have been taken in the first round since Patrick Mahomes, there has not been one that has made the Pro Bowl that has started as a rookie week 1. Yeah. And that's including Brock Purdy. That's including all of these people that first rounders like Zach Wilson, like Sam Darnold. Oh, I'm just bringing up the shitty Jets ones. Josh Rosen. Remember that name? Josh Rosen.
He was a Jet.
No, he was a Cardinal for one season, and then they traded him to Miami. He was released, and then they wasted a first round pick on him because because Murray was on the thing, and they drafted Murray that next season.
He fell out fast.
Oh yeah,
Is he even still in the league?
No, he was gone after 2 or 3 seasons.
Damn.
But you see where the and I come with daggone McNair. McNair developed and became a great quarterback. And the NFL right now had gone back to that. We wouldn't be seeing the massive amount of bust that we've had with the quarterbacks. The problems are right now is that impatient owners and the way that the NFL is up right now, you're not given enough time to actually fully develop somebody unless you stick with the plan. Unless you pull a 76ers and say, trust the process for several years while we rebuild and then come back with a perennial East contender, then you might have something.
Take a look at what the Packers did with Jordan Love. I mean, Jordan Love is thriving and looks to be a guy that can contribute and do well. And he was a backup for a while.
The last 3 quarterbacks for the Green Bay Packers, Jordan Love was a backup for 2 or 3 years. Aaron Rodgers, 3 or 4 years. Now, Brett Favre was traded for, but he was already in his 2nd season. So, Green Bay Packers have had some stability ever since 1993. 40 years or 30 some odd years of stability coming from that. Just saying. Maybe, the Jets maybe actually do that and stop fucking us over, but we can only pray for that to ever happen.
Coach, I have an idea on a show, and I am thanking Holly Leanne here for this idea. A lot of people like those murder podcasts, the murder mysteries, the true crime type stuff. Well, why don't we do a whole segment or a whole show on true crime stuff between athletes and some of the craziest shit that they've been involved in, and marry that for one whole episode? I think that can work. And Holly, I would love to get with you behind the scenes if you're willing to come on and talk about your experience. I will make that show work around your schedule. So anytime you've got the availability on a Sunday to contribute to this, we would love to have you up. and talk about how things were, the scene around Nashville at the time, with the whole Steve McNair. Because maybe we could do like a Steve McNair, Aaron Hernandez. There's been a whole bunch of athletes that have gotten in trouble.
Ray
Dumb
Caruth,
shit. Ray Caruth, man. And
Ray
just put it
Lewis,
all in one thing. So I think that could be a fun episode.
Aaron Boone.
Ray
I'm
Rice.
sorry. Aaron Boone didn't really kill anybody. He just killed the dreams of every Yankee fan by being the Yankees manager.
My soundboard will be working for our next episode. So Holly says she's all in. I love it. All right.
Outstanding.
I'll reach out to you so that we can coordinate and try and get that set up. That would be fan freaking tastic. Now, Coach, I have to correct you on one thing. Richard said it's a goddamn A in his name. Branco, not Bronco, Coach. Get it right.
I said Bronco, Branco, not Braun, Bran, like Bran, or Brain, or is it Brainco?
The long
It's
A.
a long A.
So I guess it's Branco.
Brainco.
Just like Aaron. It's not Aaron, Aaron. It's the long A, Aaron.
hey, maybe I can really screw him up and go Hawaiian and put him as Barranco. Because in Hawaii, all you do is you pronounce like the two letters, like that's like Honolulu. That's kind of how they do that. Even though that Barranco. There we go.
Hey man, well, Coach, this was a fantastic episode, man. I liked your points. If I have the time this week, I'm gonna chop up the different segments and post it at the Sports Bar over on Facebook. Just to let the people know what I have going on, I am going to visit the NBA Hall of Fame within the next month. I'm doing that in May sometime. So when I go up to Springfield, Massachusetts, I'm going to get some content and talk about that. That Sunday that I go up and do that, we will not, or that weekend, we aren't going to have a live show that weekend because I'm not going to be able to make it back in time. But that's something that we could talk about later on.
And now, speaking of the NBA Hall of Fame, I do want you to take a picture behind the bust of Mr. Bob Hurley Sr. while you're there. Just take a picture of that if you don't mind. And congratulations to his son, Danny, who is one of 5 NCAA coaches all time. 4, I take that back. 4 NCAA men's coaches to have won back-to-back titles. Billy Donovan, Mike Krzyzewski, John Wooden, Danny Hurley.
Yeah, congratulations to
and
Coach Hurley.
I'm real happy about that. By the way, did I mention that I saw Melissa on a screenshot on the final game last week?
Nice.
So I did see her, and I dodged a bullet.
Let's see. So yes, I will take that photo, Coach, and I will post it at the Sports Bar, and I might try to see if the station will let me put it up on WTF Nation Radio as well.
Hell yeah.
Let's see. Also, I'm going to go check out a UFL game. The DC Defenders are playing against somebody on Mother's Day, and I already have the tickets. Actually, courtesy of VetTix. Look,
nice.
VetTix does not sponsor us, but I want to make it known if you are a veteran or I think family members of it, like there's certain criteria.
All right, so the veteran can sign up and the family member can go in the veteran's place. My wife's done that to concerts as well, so yes.
So that is VETTIX.com. If you live in certain areas, it's fantastic because generous sponsors, donors, and organizations will put the tickets up, and sometimes you have to use like coins for a lottery system, and other times if there's tickets available, you can make the request and get them, and you only have to pay a delivery fee of like $11.
Yep.
Right?
$10 to $15. Yeah, that's their charge. Yeah.
Yep. So if you have a family of 4, you could take a family of 4 to an event and just have to pay the delivery fee. So I'm a huge fan of VetTix. Like I said, not sponsoring us, but our audience is veterans and supporters of veterans. If you're not signed up for VetTix, go use that. It's a great organization. And I'd like to thank them and the donors and people that support and give tickets to VetTix as well.
And on Mother's Day, there are several sporting events that will be out, to include anybody in North Carolina and South Carolina. You will definitely be seeing your NASCAR race there.
Mhm.
The whichever one it is, it might be Bojangles or whatever the whatever race on Mother's Day in Darlington, that will be up there. So yes. And if you're in the Rock Hill, South Carolina area on Mother's Day, well, go to Hall Family Farm or sign up on a certain website that we both belong to, and go to Hall Family Farms for their Mother's Day celebration, because that's where
Nice.
I'll be. That's where I'll be, man.
That is actually when I'm going to the game too. I'm going on Mother's Day. My daughter is going to be with her mom, so I figured, hey, I might as well just go catch a UFL game. So,
Hey,
yeah,
I mean,
and let me
it's
see.
it's better than going to a net. Is the game over in Landover?
It is at Audi Field. I've never been there,
How's Audi
so I don't know
Field?
where it's at. Yeah.
Audi Field. Huh.
Yep.
I've never even heard of Audi Field.
Audi Field.
Was it
Let's Google it real quick.
AUDEY Field?
AUDI. It's listed with the DC address.
Oh, is this? Oh, Audi. Oh,
What I
Audi
say?
Field. You
Audi,
said
Audi. Hey
Audi.
man,
Yeah,
roll,
Audi.
roll Tide,
All right,
roll
all
Tide.
right, all right. Yeah, all right. No, I know
Audi
what they
Field.
are. DC United. That's their soccer stadium.
Cool.
Yeah, yeah, because I mean, I swear to God, if they had to play over at not RFK, what's the name of that one in Landover, FedEx Field? Oh
FedEx
God,
Field. Yeah.
I'd feel bad for them. I'd feel bad that you would have to go there.
Dang.
I'm just saying, man. I mean, that stadium, FedEx Field, has been terrible, and well, you could definitely thank the old owner for that one.
No doubt. No
Yeah.
doubt. Let's see. There was a couple other sports events that I'm going to, man. I'm trying to be purposeful about getting out, getting to sport events, grabbing some content for it, and talking about it here at the sports bar. So
Yeah,
stay
I got.
tuned in.
Man, actually, I did do something sportsy this week.
Uh-oh.
I went to the home opener of the Fayetteville Woodpeckers,
Baseball?
and yeah,
Cool.
home opener. Great night. There's something. There's about 3 months where baseball is phenomenal, and it's not July, August. It's not June, July, and August, but it might be a little bit of June depending on when it is. But when you're watching baseball in April, even going into early May, the weather is just right. Getting towards the end of May, about the time of Memorial Day, it gets a little bit too hot, and you don't really want to sit out there for 3 hours in the sun. But right now, and into the middle of May, depending on where you live, going to a ball game is just 3 hours outside that you cannot take away, and it's phenomenal. And even in September, it gets that way, especially towards the end.
Nice.
Just a hell of a lot better, man. And that's what it was on this night. But I love baseball at this time of the season because you can sit there in the game and not have to worry about sweating your ass off during the game.
Yeah, for real, for real. I went to a semi-pro football game yesterday up in Williamsport, Pennsylvania, and I got some footage
Ooh.
and whatnot, but it just didn't seem right to fit that in here. It was a nice game. It was a 7-on-7 league called the Greater Eastern Football Association that primarily plays their games up in central Pennsylvania. I also do sometimes the sports commentary for their Facebook live streams. They've been pretty gracious enough to allow me to just come on and just run my yap over there. But man, it was a windy 48 degrees outside, and it made
Ooh.
for it was a great game, but the weather was just trashy. And then I drive back home, which is 3 hours south, and today we're sitting at 80 degrees with like nice, partly cloudy outside, man. And I'm like, why can't I have this yesterday at this great game against like the number 1 and 2 team in the league? You know, so while the
I
weather
get
was
you, man.
bad, like the game was fantastic.
Oh, that's good, man. That's good shit, though.
Hey, and I don't know if people heard this. I drove 3 hours away to watch a semi-pro 7-on-7 game.
Yeah,
That's how
that's
much I like sports, like certain sports. Like I'm not a hockey fan, but I'll go see a hockey game. You know,
oh, brother. You mean to tell me that when the Stanley Cup Finals start coming around, I'm gonna have to start talking about them?
yes, I know nothing about hockey. Nothing about hockey. So
Oh, the one sport, that I've got I'm not going to say a love-hate relationship, but I'm going to say that I have a very interested, uninterested kind of relationship with hockey, man.
okay.
All right, so I will be unbelievably interested, especially if one of the New York teams, makes it into the into the playoffs and goes on a run. So the Rangers, Devils, I will definitely watch them. I definitely won't watch the Islanders because they're a Long Island team. But that being said, outside of that, I don't know diddly shit. I don't even know what the hell happening with the Carolina Hurricanes. That's the honest to God's truth, man. I don't know shit about hockey outside of what the Knicks, the Rangers, and the Devils are. The Knicks, the Devils, the Rangers, and the Islanders are doing. I don't know anything about hockey outside of that. So
Ouch.
we're gonna have a very New York centered hockey portion of everything that we have here.
I heard nothing of what you just said because, as Holly put, Vincent Hill's playbook to murder is the cop from the scene that wrote the book.
Oh,
I said, "Ooh, you know what? Let me go on Amazon, place an order for the book so that I can read it and, have a little bit of extra background for when we produce this episode."
mm-hmm.
I then log on to Amazon while you're talking, and I'm looking at these prices.
Mm-hmm.
For the Kindle version of the book, it's $4.99.
Not
That's
bad.
not bad at all.
No.
For the paperback version of the book, right now on Amazon, I am looking at $199.95.
Is he trying to pay OJ's legal fees? What the fuck?
I was like, this has to be a typo. So let me go here to Goodreads and see what I can find on Goodreads. Well, Goodreads is just going to have just the Kindle. Google Books? The hell?
What?
Well,
20?
I guess I'll be buying. I'm not a Kindle reader, but
Uh-huh.
yeah, it's $150 something book. The
Jesus
paperback.
Christ. Well, who wrote the forward? Jesus Christ? Who the hell?
Let's see, bigger books.
No.
Here we go. I think I found a website that has it listed for $15. No, this is to rent it. Yo, oh, here we go. Buy new. Okay, so I can't buy new. I don't trust this website though.
You can't buy
Biggerbooks.com.
new. That's not a good thing.
Yeah, no, I'm gonna get it. I'm gonna order the Kindle version
Oh, God.
because I would like to read it, but that's insane. Said contact him directly. Hey, you know what? You let me, if I could get a signed copy from him.
For
Let me
$150, he
see.
should be giving you some fucking
Vincent
evidence.
Hill Arthur. Yeah, if I could get a signed copy from him, that would be dope. Let me see. If I could Google how to contact him, I most absolutely will. Thanks, Holly. All right. Yeah, sorry. I saw that sticker price and said, dog. Anyway, but Coach, do you have anything for the show before we close this out?
I don't have anything, buddy.
Man, hey, I'm gonna tell you right now, fantastic points. The way that you were able to weave a lot of that together was hilarious. Coach, as always, I appreciate you. To everybody that was in the chat, I salute y'all as well. We come on here live on Sunday nights, 8 p.m. U.S. Eastern. But like we said at the beginning of the show, there's other hosts on WTF Nation Radio as well. Check us out almost every night of the week. 8 p.m. U.S. Eastern. We have pop culture. We have all things military. We have all things just life in general. So be sure to tune in and hit us up. That's Coach. I'm the actual King Smith. We out. Peace.